When I was like 11 years old, my family picked up and moved to the Dominican Republic. And firstly, moving was not easy. I moved without my dad or my older brother, just my mother and my younger siblings. None of us spoke any Spanish, but my father and brother were busy emptying out our house and selling things so that everything could be done and, finished up back home. So moving to this new country was obviously a large shock. I had never moved before in my entire life. I had always lived in this same town for 11 years, which is kind of a long time. You get used to something after more than a decade. But the first night in this new country was worse than I could have imagined. I never expected to be spending a night sleeping in an abandoned house. I never expected that we would be moving from hotel to hotel for what felt like a long time, just trying to find somewhere that we could actually live. And after however many months we spent living in decent houses, I won't say they were very good houses, next thing I know, we're moving out to a cabin in the middle of nowhere in the jungle where the nearest town you have to walk through the jungle to reach, crossing rivers, and there are hardly any neighbors anywhere nearby, and there's no electricity. The cabin was infested with rats. There was no running water, not even a toilet that flushed. And when all things like this are put together in a list, you think, oh, how could you live like that? How could you survive in a place like that? And it was terrible. The house was built poorly. There were holes in the walls. We got flooded when it rained, and life feels so impossibly miserable. Like there couldn't possibly be anything good. Nobody. No friends. No nice things. No commodities. No. Yes, we got electricity later on in the house, but it wasn't very good electricity. We still only had only one light in the house, and there were still rats, there was still rainstorms, there was still the cold getting in through the walls, and you think, oh, life here's so terrible. There couldn't possibly be anything good here. And it's when you reach points in your life like this, when it seems like all the things you would normally expect to go to for relief, for things that would be considered good or beneficial or enjoyable are gone, that you learn to appreciate things you would have never cared about or noticed before. And I just remember there was one night where I had finished washing our dishes out of a basin of water that we had hauled from the stream, and the sun had already set, and I was walking inside when my mom tells me, "Stop, look at the sky." And when I looked up, there were so many stars, so bright, so many more stars than I could even fathom as far as the eye could see. So close and shining, just blanketing the sky. Never in my life anywhere else have I seen stars as brightly and as clearly as that. And we realized if we had had electricity, like light posts and lamps, and if we had had a sink in our house, we wouldn't have been outside. We wouldn't have been able to see the stars so brightly. Everything being stripped away made us realize the beauty of things we wouldn't have stopped or cared to look at any other point in time. And it just taught me a great lesson to realize that there was always going to be beauty somewhere in life. It just depends on where you're looking. There will always be darkness, and there will always be stars. Sometimes things have to get really dark for you to be able to see them.